All right, so Ms. Kalud, we can discuss the terms and a definition in the cross word.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so let us first discuss the one that is down. Okay, so number one, a result you intend to achieve. So what is your answer?
Objective.
Objective, very good. So basically, the objective is a clause in ISO 9001 2015, all right, that the organization to set a objective. All right, so we will talk about the requirements of the objective when we are in clause 6.2. Okay, because across the organization and to the processes and function, there should have a established objective, and the objective needs to be measurable, it needs to be attainable, realistic, and time bounded. All right, so that is the answer for number one. Number two down. Okay, when an
What's this?
organization, exactly, okay, outsource, sometimes in an organization they outsource providers, like say for example it could be a contractors or subcontractors, and it is a requirement of the standard that you should manage, you should control the outsourced providers of the organization. Like say, for example, maintenance of the building. If there is no function in the organization doing the maintenance of the building, you can outsource this to your external provider, but then you have to ensure that you manage their activities. Okay, so that is for number two. Number four. Four down.
Number 4 or 3? Number 4, it was interested party.
Okay, very good. Interested parties. So we talked about the interested parties of the organization a while ago. They are actually the employee, employer, top management, regulators, governmental bodies, client, supplier, subcontractors. They are the stakeholders of the organization. And as told, okay, in the clause 4.2, understanding the interested parties and their requirements. Okay, and this needs to be monitored and reviewed on a regular basis. Okay, so that is a number 4, interested parties. Number 6 down.
Corrective action.
Okay, corrective action. So okay, so in clause 10.2, there is this requirements of providing correction and corrective action. Okay, when we say correction, this is a process to eliminate the non-conformity. Okay, what action you should do. But for corrective action, this is an action to eliminate the cause of the non-conformity. Okay, so there is this root cause analysis, and based on your analysis, you need to provide corrective action. Okay, number 8.
So the answer is right?
Yes, that's correct.
It is a step. Okay.
Corrective action. Number 8.
Number 8. I do not have any answer for number 8.
Okay. Here, right? This is monitoring. This is actually to determine the status of an activity, the process, or a system at a different stages or at different times. Like for example, objectives. You monitor the objectives, right? Whether you are meeting the requirements of the standard. Okay, like for example, in the whole year, you will do monthly inspection. Okay, you monitor whether January you conducted an inspection, February you did an inspection at site, like this. So you monitor this. Okay. In the examination, sometimes there are terms that they will ask you. Like, so for example, what is the definition of monitoring or measurement? And give an example of what you monitor, things like this. Okay? Number 10.
But in the exam, we can write the exactly definition, the one we have it, yani. Or we have to paraphrase it?
You can rephrase it because in the examination they will ask you to explain this in your own word.
Okay.
So not
Like
necessarily.
we cannot memorize it and write it exactly as it is.
No need to memorize. What I'm suggesting is that try to understand what they're asking, and then you can write that in the examination because it's gonna be in your own word.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, like for example, there was an examination question related to monitoring. Like they explain in your understanding the definition of monitoring and give an example of what you will monitor and the clause requirement as well. Okay. Next, number 10 down.
Okay, number 10, organization.
Organization, very good. Okay, it could be a person or it could be a group. There is an objective, okay, responsibilities, function, authorities, and relationship. As we know, when we talk about organization, it could be a company, it could be a subdivision, for example, it could be a corporation. So they are an example of organization. Number 12 down. Data, very good. Okay, so any facts about an object is called data. Yes. Number 13.
I do not have an idea.
Okay, 13 down. This is audit criteria. When you are doing an audit, there should have a criteria, okay, that you use as a reference point. Like, say, for example, you're doing an audit for projects at site. Okay, so what criteria or reference criteria that you are using when you are doing an audit? Either you will use the method statement as your criteria, either you will use the international standards for quality management system as your criteria, or you use the quality manual or any procedures against of what you are auditing. Even say, for example, the contractual agreement with the client, maybe you wanted to um, um, assess the implementation of the organization based on their agreement. Okay, so that can be also a criteria, okay, or audit criteria. All right, next, number 14.
Like it is a way to follow it during the audit?
Like a reference that you should use against your audit. Like, for example,
a point we come back to it once we want to do the audit?
Yes, exactly.
To check the requirements, policy,
Right.
etc.
True. For example, you go to the site, you do the inspection there or an audit there related to working at height. Okay, or for example, the structure of the building you wanted to see. So you have a method statement. Based on the method statement, okay, you need to use this as a criteria, okay, against your audit based on the implementation at site. Okay, or say for example, the standard requirements, you have the standard for 9001, you are using this, okay, if the company is implementing or the company is following the requirement. That is the criteria.
Okay, got it.
Okay, number 14 down.
14 was the commitment.
14 is concession.
Okay.
This term in quality management system, concession, is a special approval. This is a special approval that is granted to release a non-conforming product or a service for use or delivery. Like, say, for example, you have a delivery, okay, to a customer. Let's say water bottles. Okay, you will be delivering 10 water bottles to a customer. But then, okay, the bottles that you will deliver is not as per the requirements of the customer. Okay, let's say, for example, the bottle is color, for example, this one. You see this bottle? For example, the customer requirements bottle is My Dubai, and this is what they wanted you to give them. However, during the production of this bottle, okay, it's not color red, which should be the requirement. The color is blue, for example, but they need this urgently. Okay, with their approval, okay, you ask their approval to deliver this. You know, because this is the product is a non-conforming, but it should be agreed by both parties that you will be delivering the you know the product itself, you know, but there should have a special approval granted that okay, you can release this non-conforming product to be used or either delivered to the customer. Okay, so there is an approval that's called concession. Okay,
Okay, got it.
number 16. 16
Honestly,
now.
for 16, I selected the concessions. So I think I did the opposite.
Yes, it was like
It will be the commitment.
16 is competence.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, in competence, there is a requirement in the standard that is called that is in clause 7.2. So when you talk about competence, okay, this means being able to apply knowledge, you know, any skills to achieve intended result, ensuring, for example, that the person working in the company is competent. You know, he is trained, he is skilled, having required qualification, okay, provided with a training in awareness. That is called competence. Okay, and the organization should ensure that the competence is provided to the organization. Okay, so that is in clause 7.2. Okay, so the applicable actions for competence, okay, for example, provision of training, you know, mentoring, reassignment of currently employed person, or hiring or contracting of a competent person if there is no internal resource available in the organization. Okay, and then lastly, for the down, we have what answer?
17, a plan for activity and a strategy.
Strategy. Very good. Okay,
But
so
for 7.1, we do not cover it yet,
the
right? 7.1, the closure 7.1.
7.1.
Yeah, the closure 7, we do not cover it yet, right?
No, not yet. Mm-hmm. Okay, so strategy, you know, these are the strategy of the organization. Okay, like a plan to ensure that the objective that you set is achieved. That is called strategy. All right. Now, let us talk about those boxes across. Number 3 here.
Quality.
Number 3 is quality. Very good. Okay. So when we talk about quality, the definition of this is a degree to which inherent characteristics fulfill criteria. You know, remember in quality, you can identify a product as excellent quality, good quality, bad quality, but still it's quality, right? So when we talk about quality, there should have a criteria. All right, there should have a set of criteria that you fulfill. That means, for example, if there is a customer requirements and they wanted you to do this as per their requirements and they are happy with that, that means there is quality. Okay, so there should have a set of criteria to be fulfilled. All right, so that is number 3. Number 5, what is the answer? A type of nonconformity.
Yeah, defect.
Defect, exactly. You know, sometimes in an organization's activities there are defects. Okay, and that is actually a type of nonconformity. Number 7, the entire
Number
system
7, infrastructure.
infrastructure. Okay, so these are services, facilities, equipment, okay, that the organizations needed in order to function. So what are those facilities? Infrastructure, vehicles, for example, IT infrastructure, all right? So equipments needed, so that is called infrastructure. Number 9,
Policy.
policy, exactly. So just like what we have discussed a while ago, 5.2 clause of the standard for 9001 talk about policy. And the policy is the overall intention, direction, and commitment of the organization. Is stated formally by the top management. Okay, number 11.
11, the effect is risk.
Yes, exactly. This is the effect of uncertainty on an expected result. So that is the risk. And as I told you, okay, in clause 6.1 of the standard, okay, there should have a process in place for determining, the risk and opportunities of the organization. Okay, so those two risks can come from, the processes as mentioned in clause number 4 to clause number 10. Okay, and of course, you as an auditor will need to go through and check the risk register, the risk management of the organization. Okay, so remember when we talk about risk, it could result into negative result, that is the risk, or a positive result that can now be an opportunities of the organization. Okay, number 15.
15, documented information.
Documented information. All right, so documented information are those information that needs to be maintained and retained. Okay, and this documented information could be in a form of a policy, could be in a form of a manual, a procedures, okay, a work instructions. All right, so those are maintained documented information. When we talk about retained documented information, they are those documentations as evidence of implementation. Okay, it could be records. Example of records. Can you give an example of a records?
Honestly, I don't know.
Reports, for
There's no any example in my mind right now.
It could be a report, actually, like a audit report or inspection report. Okay, or
Yeah, right.
any form that is filled, that means that can be a record. All right,
Okay.
next.
Next is
18.
18.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not sure if it is the cause or the
18, this one, 18 down, across, this is audit.
cause.
Audit,
Audit.
yes.
Yeah, but
Systematic evidence gathering process.
they wrote down the audits must be independent and evidence must be evaluated, etc. So
Yeah, when you're doing an audit, it should be independent, right? And you collect evidence to your auditee, and once you collected those evidences, that needs to be verified further, okay, to determine that the criteria has been met. So that is the definition of an audit. Like, say, for example, what you're going to do, you are auditing the policy of the company. So you request the policy, they presented you the policy, you verify whether the policy statement is as per the requirements of the standard. So objective evidence, okay, verifying, assessing, evidence gathering process. That is the definition of an audit. And then lastly, number 19.
provider.
Provider, exactly. Okay, so provider is a person or an organization that supplies or provides products and services. So example of a provider, they are the external provider. You have
Supplier,
supplier, exactly.
manufacturer.
So you have the supplier or a manufacturer, that an item or a service, okay, a products that you purchase from them, that you require to use. Let's say for example in construction industry, procurement officer procured cement that you will be
Mm.
using during the operation. So they are the providers of cement. Okay, so that is the definition uh, that is very important to be known. Some of it, maybe it will, appear in the examination, just like what I told you.
Yeah, okay.
So these are the summary of all. Okay, so you have here the uh, definition, and we have here the terminology, like this. All right. Any question?
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I have a question related to record. You
Record.
said it is any documents, right?
Yes. Records are those evidence of implementation.
Okay.
Yeah, like for example here, let me show you that further. This one. uh Retain documented information. Okay, so the standard sometimes calls for a document to be retained. That means they are asking for a record. Okay, so any documentation to have confidence that the processes are being carried out as planned. Okay, what is the evidence that they're doing this? It could be for example, a quality records, a reports, a inspection reports, minutes of the meeting, or a certificate of competency, or any records that is available in the organization. Okay.
Okay, good.
So those are the things that you may wanted to go through and look at in that clause. Okay, so those are the important terms and definition. Of course, just like what I told you a while ago, we do have other requirements in clause number 6, planning. So we have completed the clause 6.1, risk management, and another clause requirements is objectives. So in here in clause 6.2, okay, there should have established quality objectives, at relevant function, at levels and processes. That means that there should have a overall objectives for the whole organization, and that objective needs to be cascaded in different levels, departmental objectives. And from the departmental objectives, they have their own processes, and then there should have a objective in that processes as well. So this objective set by the organization needs to be, consistent with the policy statement of the company. Okay, this objective needs to be measurable. You should take into account the applicable requirements, regulatory requirement, legal requirement, customer requirements, contractual requirements, and others. And of course, it shall be relevant to your operation, to your products, to your service conformity, and ensure that this is monitored, communicated, and updated as appropriate. So when you are auditing this clause, okay, you need to ensure that there is a documented quality objectives of the company. That objective should be smart objective. You have the objectives, what would be your KPI, your targets, who is responsible, how you will monitor this, what are the actions that you should do to meet those objectives. Okay, and when you are setting an objective, very important that this is evaluated as well. and you have to look at the processes and documentations available to ensure that these objectives are managed accordingly in the organization. Okay, because if there is no objectives of the company, you can raise a non-conformity. For example, you are asking for the objectives of the company or objectives of the department. So you can raise a major non-conformity if really there is no objectives of the company. Okay, so it's a non-conformity. Okay, and then of course we have the last clause requirements for number 6. Okay, the planning of changes. So this one, in these requirements, there should have a management of change process. Okay, so what is this management of change process? Okay, any changes happening in the organization needs to be managed and controlled in a planned manner. Okay, and when there are changes occurring in the company, you shall consider the purpose of the change and what is the consequence of that change. Is this what is the integrity of these changes happening in the organization, and then of course the availability of resources, like when you do change, the resources available. Okay, the allocation or reallocation of responsibilities and authorities. What are the example of changes that might happen in the organization? For example, change of policy and procedure, reorganizational structure. Like say, for example, there is a uh, you know the general manager replaced by a new personnel. So that is a organizational change. The restructural organizational change happening in the organization. When there is a changes in the legislation, changes in the equipment, in the facility, okay, the equipment that you are going to use in the organization, right? So this needs to be managed and controlled in a planned manner. Of course, you may wanted to go through, check, assess the changes, whether they have the procedure for management of change in the company. All right, so that is for clause 6.3, planning of changes. So any question?
No, it is clear.
Okay, now, all right. Yeah. So, do you want to have exercise now or later maybe?
I don't know, as you see.
Okay. So, because Zara and Shaima, I hope Shaima will be joining with us by next week. I'm not so
Next
sure.
week, yeah, inshallah.
So she will be joining on next week, yeah. And Zara
Inshallah.
also will catch up, to the discussion as she told, because there is a emergency today. Okay. Anyway, we have discussed not too much for the topic for today for them to catch up. Okay. What we can do now, if you want to continue, we can continue the discussion, or let's continue once they are by next week. What do you think?
As you see,
Mm-hmm.
I'm fine with both, yani. I think much better they are here. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So what we can do now is conclude. Okay, so we have the exercises here. All right, and I
Yeah.
hope you do have the paper with you also. Okay, maybe by next week you can go through with the exercises. Okay, and we will discuss the evidences. Okay, you have the copy of these exercises.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can discuss this by next week before
Next week.
we start the training. Okay, but again,
Yeah, okay.
so I think we can start by next week at early as possible, just like what we have decided with Miss Zara, 9:45 maximum. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. All right then. So, is there any other clarification or questions that you wanted to ask?
Honestly, I have general question.
Mm-mm.
Um, yeah, like it is much better to start from this, like I want to start studying for the exam or cover the material, يعني weekly. So it's much better to cover it from the slides or
Um,
the document related to ISO direct.
Actually, from the slides, because that is related to the um standards, and once we have
Mhm.
covered all of these things on the fourth day,
Okay.
we will discuss the examination, the whole idea about the examination, because we will have a mock exam, okay, for you to know and have the idea how the questioning look like. We will try to answer that all together in the class, okay, before
Mhm.
we do the examination on the fifth Friday.
Yeah, okay, خلاص. Okay.
Any other question or clarification?
No, thank you.
Okay, great. Now, so we will continue next week. It is just that Miss Zara have emergency today as well. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So thank you so much, Miss Kulud. See you next week.
Thank you and have a good week.
You too. You have work tomorrow?
No, I will start on
I
Sunday,
still
inshallah, as
off.
usual.
Okay,
Yeah.
at least you still have one day to take a rest. Yeah.
I still have one day as a weekend.
But how is work now? You're based still in Murfa or you're in Abu Dhabi already?
No, no, I'm in Marfa.
Still in
Yeah,
Murfa.
if you remember Mughira project, I
Yeah,
think you came to give us the fire safety.
yeah, fire safety in first aid. I was there before
Yeah,
for
yeah.
training, but the project is completed, right?
The project is completed, but there is another small project. It is a substructure project related to infrastructure only. So
Mm-mm.
I shifted to this project. It is just a small, teeny tiny project.
Okay. That's great.
Comparing it with the Mughira project, yeah, it is small project.
Uh-huh. So still you're in Murfa, but these houses that you build there is completed already.
Yeah, completed. Like there is a small thing, yani there is a stuff already there.
Mm-mm. I see.
Yeah, they are completing such small changes
Okay.
Adha requested.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's a good, view actually. It's a good place. Very quiet, so peaceful when I went there. Very nice. What
Yeah,
about
and
the
that's
other
very quiet.
participants before? They didn't take the lead auditor course?
No, I do not.
Okay. So they didn't. But they're
Like you
still
mean it
working.
during you mean it during the project?
Yeah. It's still now they are working there or not anymore?
No, still they are working there, but a small, like a small number of the staff.
Oh.
And related to the audit, yeah, no, I do not lead the audit. I just was a listener trainee during the audit.
Okay. All
That's
right.
it.
Uh-huh. So at least now you're getting all the idea about how you will do an audit based on the standard like this. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So maybe you will be in contact with Miss Shaima. So just are you're a colleague with her, right? You
Yeah,
work.
we are friends.
Yeah, yeah. So maybe you can just briefly discuss with her what we have covered so that she can go through with the materials also.
Yeah, sure. I will, inshallah.
Okay, so thank you so much, Madam Kulud. You may have a good week ahead of you.
Thank you, you too. And thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Bye bye.
Bye.